I was in second grade, so at that point in time, so that would have been like, I think it was like 9 or 10 in the morning, our teacher took us aside and she sat us all down. She said that there had been a terrorist attack.
I was actually in geography class. Geography class had just gotten out when the first tower was hit, and then I was moving into my study hall, I guess. I was in middle school at the time, towards the end of middle school. So I was not really sure exactly what to take from it and how everything was really going to be impacted.
Well, I certainly didn't understand the consequence or the magnitude of that at the time.
Because even being in 7th, 8th grade, geography, it's kind of like, well, okay, I don't really know what implications are going to come from this.
I had a class that day. I got in the elevator, and a friend of mine from the history department got on the elevator with me, and she said, "Did you hear that there was an accident and an airplane crashed into a building in New York City?" And I said, "No, I'm on my way to class. I hadn't heard that yet." And so I went on and went and taught my class. And when I came out of class, of course, an hour later, we were already aware that it wasn't an accident. And so I saw a lot of students huddling around each other, kind of looking at their iPhones or smartphones or talking to each other. The word had spread that these airplanes, and now there was more than one, had been deliberately flown into the World Trade Center. And that was shocking. It was right away, I ran into another colleague of mine and we said, wow, that's like Pearl Harbor during World War II when the Japanese attacked the American fleet in Hawaii. And so I rushed back to the political science department, and by then they'd already grabbed a television set on a cart and rolled it into the main office, and we were starting to get news from New York that this had been a terrorist attack. And by then things were going downhill in terms of the fire in the Tower 1, and Tower 2 as well was now on fire. And so we were, I think, pretty stunned and shocked, didn't know where it came from.
Being from a small town in Iowa, yes, we had the news feed on, and the adults were more around, the teachers and everything like that were more around the TV watching it, because I think they understood the implications of what was about to happen and the possibility of war.
We did know that something important, something big had happened.
We were on the same level. We didn't know any more than students, but we were all was concerned about how big this was and what it meant.
It was probably about the defining moment of last decade.
I think it brought America together for the following probably close to a decade. It brought America together, and then now, unfortunately, it feels like things are falling apart again.
I don't think we're ever going to go back to the way things were before September 11th. Every generation has an experience that it brings with it until people die of old age. So the people who experienced September 11 will never forget it. It was a huge event. It was like the Great Depression, where you always have in the back of your mind those airplanes flying in there, those people fleeing the buildings with ashes and the buildings collapsing, and that will never go away. And so that generation is deeply affected by September 11th. The generation that really doesn't remember any of this will question why we need so much security, will say, this is probably undermining American democracy, and will maybe be more optimistic about the world.